morning, all. No, I am not starting it out with my typical good morning. Today is September 11th, 9/11. 18 years ago, thousands upon thousands of people lost their lives because a group of extremists decided that they wanted to try to ruin a country. Ugh. Very strange. So, anywho, I just wanted to not go on a rant about, the world of BDSM, but I did want to, kind of talk about how we have decided if people don't live our way, then fuck them. We're going to lash out and tell them how they need to live their life, how they need to worship, what they need to do with their life, so on and so forth. And what has that gotten us? Lots of war. I'm not a very religious person. I went through a lot of religion as a child. I grew up in an atheist, Scientologist, Christian, Baptist, Mormon family. Yeah. Crazy, huh? All of that. And I was forced to go to church. I was forced to, it was forced to have missionaries come to the house and teach, the Book of Mormon and so on and so forth. I don't think anybody should be forced to do anything. If you want to introduce your children into the way you worship, that's fine, but I don't think anybody should be forced to do anything, especially when it comes to religion. I believe there are radicals in every sect of religion. Some are more violent than others, but I don't care how you worship. I don't care, as long as your worshiping does not affect the rest of the world. Plain and simple. As long as it's not hurting people, as long as it's not impacting things negatively. And I know people will totally be like, well, the way they worship that way and this way, it's negative. It is impacting the world negative. I've yet to see that shit. I've yet to see, kind of like, oh, well, we don't want gay people to, have the right to marry, or, we don't want gay people to come out because we don't want them teaching our children, and just some fucked up, it's gonna like corrupt the world, corrupt our nation. If anybody's corrupting the nation, it's narrow-minded fucking people. That's what's happening. And people that have no tolerance for any type of thoughts beyond their own. So, yeah. And that also kind of applies to the whole world of kink and BDSM and, stuff like that. It's just like, I know, I hear it from vanilla people that you're not jarving with my videos and so on and so forth. And as I've stated in a previous video, then just move on. I mean, if I don't like something, I don't sit there and subject myself to it to piss myself off or to be whatever. If I'm paying attention to something, it's because I either A, want to learn about it, or B, I I enjoy it. And if I want to learn about it, and then through the learning process, I decide it's not for me, then I move the fuck on. The only way I get extremely worked up about anything is if it has to do with kids, animals, senseless crimes, just, bullshit. Shit that's really hurting people. There's always bad apples in every bunch. We know this. And sadly, there will always be people that make shit look awful. And people are like, well, that's not me. That's not the whole picture. You're absolutely right. But the whole thing is, we need to be a lot more tolerant with our fellow humans. Like I said, if you don't agree with somebody's religious, political, sexual, identity or lifestyle, that's fine. You don't have to. But you also don't have to be a complete fucking asshole to them or act out in violence towards them. This whole thing like, well, my way is how we should all think, and if the world doesn't go this way or the country doesn't go this way, then it's just everything's going to be ruined and everything's going to be, we're going to all die and the country's going to burn to shit. I swear to God, Americans, we are some of the most little bitches when we do not like when people don't think like us. We are fucking awful creatures when that comes about. I can remember from the time I was a young child, all the doom and gloom shit that we would hear, the end of the world, this and that, blah, 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 blah. This shit's been going on forever. Now we just fucking hear it a hell of a lot more hardcore because we got the internet and everything. But I mean, yeah, and sadly, as we evolve, as everything evolves, so does the crazy, so does the bad. Shit can get worse. But if we don't get to a fucking point where we become acceptant of others, what the fuck? I don't get it. I don't get the whole, and I guess the reason why I just use the gay thing is because I've literally had people I know say to me they didn't agree with gay marriage. And I'm like, why do you give a shit? How does it affect you? Well, it's the moral fabric. Whose moral fabric? Yours? Because I'm sure there's other motherfuckers out there that's moral fabric is a hell of a lot better than yours. So who? Just, are we, to me that is the best form of narcissism. If you honestly think that the way you worship, vote, live your life is the only way it should be done, and it's superior to others, you are a motherfucking narcissist. And you need to get a fucking grip. Because guess what? You're not that fucking important. None of us are. In a whole, we're all important. But you're not that fucking important that other people really give two fucks about what you're doing with your life as long as you're not hurting others. And by being a bigot, misogynist, or, zealot, all that shit hurts us. So this whole thing where, people really think very, very fucking highly of themselves. As I'm even saying this, I have my beliefs, but the whole thing is, I was like, God, am I a narcissist? Because do I feel that people need to act a certain way? I mean, people just need to fucking be decent human beings. But do I think people have to live the way I live or believe the views I believe? Absolutely fucking not. No. that's what I want. That's what works for me. Just because I believe certain things, and the reason I do is because of life experiences and what I have chosen to, believe. I'm not saying I'm righter than anybody else, but if we don't get to a fucking point to where we can respect other people's views and whatever, you don't have to like them and you don't have to agree with them. But as long as they're not fucking hurting you, and stop acting like if somebody, well, they are hurting me because they don't believe that way I am. And that means that, the mortality of this country is just going to go to shit. No, what makes it go to shit is the narrow-mindedness that you think you're so fucking special that everybody has to fucking believe like you believe. So, one of the worst offenders of that is Christians, Boy, oh boy. Some of the most judgy bullshit I've ever seen. And I'm not, as I said before, let me back the fuck up a little bit. As I said before, all religious sects, not sex, sex, have their extremists. All do. I even think there's Buddhist extremists. Yeah, that whole thing with, oh God. Yeah, but anyways, I think, there are extremists in every way, shape, and form, and that's some scary shit. That really is. Oh, that's hot. But, my whole point to that is I've seen some just fucking hateful Christians, and Christians are the ones that are like, oh my God, we're the best. Our religion is the best. Everybody needs to worship like us. And then they fucking turn around and say and do some really fucked up shit. I'm just like, what the fuck? And let me tell you, living in the South, I've never seen so many fucking churches out here in my entire life, but I have had some fucking people who consider themselves all holier than thou say just some of the fucking worst shit I've ever heard, and treat people just horrendously. So, yeah, find Jesus. What would Jesus do? Not that. So anywho, today is just more about a day of give some reflection to how you perceive yourself and how others should perceive you, as far as you think you need to be the, barometer on how others should live their life, that they should, feel the way you feel about religion or God or politics or marriage or sex or any of that shit. A lot of people that are into the whole BDSM community, people think, oh my God, they're sick. Oh my God, they have issues. Oh my God, they're fucking, serial killers. I'm actually listening to the audible book, Mindhunter. And it's that Netflix series is based off the book. And it's very interesting because one person that they're talking about who killed somebody was into looking at BDSM pictures and, had fantasies. But let me put it to you this way. That motherfucker, he had a lot of fucking layers when they broke him down. So is there going to be people that are fucked up in the head? And even the profiler said, just because you're into that doesn't mean you're gonna be a fucking murderer. But why do people want to be humiliated? Why do people want to be whipped and flogged and caned? And why? it usually has to do with something that triggered it in your life. You know, I can tell you, I have always been a dominant personality. I have always had to be strong because I was, you know, a young kid who came home to an empty house. I was a latchkey kid. And I'm talking about like 3rd, 4th grade. And you go home and you would open the door, go in there, do your homework, and then you'd run out and play with your friends. And, you know, be home before the fucking sun came down because, or the street lights came on because they wanted to make sure you're still alive. And nobody had cell phones back then. So I've always been a bit of a dominant personality. I didn't really realize how dominant until the older I've kind of gotten, and yeah, because I also was quiet I just wanted everybody to like me. I don't give a shit. Now I don't care, and that's so freeing. Who cares if everybody doesn't like you? Who cares? You know, doesn't matter. I know the person I am. I know that's all that matters, is I know I'm a good person and I treat people correctly. So if they don't like me, fuck it. Don't like me. Yes, I'm boisterous. I can be a little overbearing. Yeah, this would be true. But I'll be the first one to say sorry. I'll be the first one to admit I'm wrong. You know, it took me a while to get there, but you know, if I think back, the reason why I like the whole BDSM community was, there have been many times in my life where I felt like control was taken away from me for, you know, one situation or another. You know, it goes back as far back as family, and it was, you know, taken away from me, but yet I was supposed to have the most responsibility and take care of things. So it's just weird. So in order for me to have control and exert control over somebody makes me feel good. You know, now if I, you know, did it to a point to where I was hurting the person, you know, physically and mentally and financially, then no, no. Those are the motherfuckers that make, you know, those extremists, those ones that you just don't got a fucking conscience. Well, or whatever, you're just such a fucking narcissist. If you guys don't know what fucking narcissist is, look it up. Watch a YouTube video on narcissism. It's fucking crazy. I mean, everybody finds themselves so fucking self-important. The only time I find myself important is in myself, if that makes sense. Fuck it. I'm not that fucking important. I can always be replaced in every aspect of life. So, stop thinking you're special. I mean, you're special. We're all special in our own certain way, but stop thinking that you're above others. Even knowing I am. You know what I mean? So I know a lot of people have been reporting my channel, which I think is hilarious, because they don't like what I have to say. For the most part, I don't know if I will or not. I mean, but I basically, for the most part, put all my videos as age restricted. Because no, I don't want a bunch of fucking young kids watching this shit, or, you know, or even like teenagers. That creeps me out. That creeps me the fuck out. So no, I'm not down for, you know, but somebody is even going like a fucking step further, or somebody's, to report. And then, because I could always make my video age restrictive, but I could also go in and make it unage restrictive. Well, now they're reporting my videos that I could never make it age restricted. YouTube has put their stamp on it that it's always going to be that way. I don't give two fucks. I mean, people that monetize their channel and try to make money off of ads and shit like that, you don't want age restrictive, because then they won't do that on YouTube. I mean, I guess you could get your own, if you're wanting to make money, you can get your own sponsors and shit like that. But I don't give two fucks about making money on YouTube. So keep on reporting. Does not bother me. I'm like, whatever. I know who I am. I know what I say. If certain people don't agree with it, then move on. I mean, really. All you're doing is hurting your brain. Why do you want to spend time on that shit? So, yeah, on this 18th year anniversary of people not being tolerant of others, and ended up killing thousands upon thousands, because, and it's still killing thousands upon thousands. You know, we're in wars, we're in a fucking religious war. You know, that's what we're in. And the funny thing is, the people the extremists that we're fighting, they're like, it's our way or the highway. But man, I can't tell you how many times I've heard that from, you know, Americans too, saying, well, if you don't worship like us or this and that, it's the highway. No different. So I just want everybody, if you can take anything from this video, just be more tolerant with others, as long as they're not really hurting you. Like, come on, you would be surprised. I actually consider myself an atheist. If I'm wrong, I'll deal with it when I get there, either or. And I've literally had friends that are Christian say to me, you are more Christian than most of the people I go to church with. I'm just like, you know what? I just want to be treated right, so I treat people right. I just try to have compassion and empathy, and just, I like doing things for others. I always have. And yeah, so I'm just gonna live the life that I feel that that's how I need to be living it. Not for anybody but myself, because I like being that person. If you don't like being that person, then okay. But just be tolerant of others that do. You know, like I said, if it's not hurting you personally, then move the fuck on. So anywho, let's think of everybody that has lost their lives on this day. The heroes that went into the buildings. The heroes on that flight that brought it down before it could hit Washington. The heroes that were in the buildings. Everybody that has died on this day because of that awful attack. I lived in New York for 10 years. So 9/11 really gets to me. It's one of the best cities in the world. Some of the best people you'll ever meet. Extremely diverse and a lot more tolerant than most. So, anywho, everybody have an awesome day. This is, you know, unlike my other videos, and I hope you can see that I'm just not the raging bitch you think I am. And if you think I am, that's okay. That's okay. So anyways, guys, have a great day.